Well, the REA auction just ended and I'm an idiot. I forgot to bid. But there's some really awesome non-sports cards in there from historical figures as well as some other sets, and I want to cover some of the top sales in this video. So I'm gonna jump on my computer right now and let's go over some cards. All right, so I'm gonna skip over Pokemon because I don't know it too much. So the first one we have here, this actually kind of surprised me on this sale, but we have 47 of these states over here. Now looking at these actually look pretty sharp. Looks like maybe a four-ish on that copy. Pretty nice here too. I don't know if there's any short prints in this set, and unfortunately, we only get to see 4 of them. Let me see. Yeah, we only get to see 4 of those in there. But let's also take a look at these backs over here. And you can see all the different states and territories that they have associated with this. But yeah, pretty clean copies. I mean, we're looking at 1920 total over here. So think about like $50 a card. Possibly some money to be made if someone's going to split it up or if they want to keep it for themselves. I'm not too familiar what some of these higher grades go for. But what I will say from like selling some of these type of cards, there's always people that live in a state or an area that want to purchase these, and this gets them into non-sports cards from the 1800s. And also, by the way, like the designs on these are phenomenal if you haven't seen any of these in person. So that was there. Another one I wanted to briefly cover, and I would have bid on it probably at this price point. We have 1,080 for these 1890 N309s. So what's interesting about these is there's a lot of variants out there and not a lot of them are documented. So let's just go over some of the variants over here. So you can see on the back over here, there's 3 different backs. Now I have a lot of these that are blank back that I've had over time. In fact, I have a Washington 2 that has a blank back, but I'd rather have something that's a little bit rarer, something like one of these over here. And like I value my Washington 2, which let me see, take a look at this. That's that looks trimmed right there. You guys can see that. But overall, like I'd say it's like around the same condition as this one. But I like value that at about $200 to $300, give or take. A Lincoln is a little bit more expensive than Washington, so like you could say the Lincoln would probably be about $300 to $400. So you're getting this lot for about the same price as the commons, and these are rarer backs. Again, I don't know how scarce. I think it was a pretty good deal overall. And I know who won this lot. They did a good job purchasing that one. Some more Pokemon over here. This card has been getting some action as of recently. I think there was one that was sold in Vintage Non-Sports Auction and another REA auction. I also believe I know who purchased this card. And it's an iconic image. I do like this. It's a little bit too large of a card for my own taste, but I would definitely have it in my PC. It was a little bit of a cheaper card because it is expensive, but I mean, come on, talk about images. Like this is so cool. And this would be I would give it a 1.5 if I was a grader. I understand if it does get a 1. But sold for $700, which shows you how expensive it is. We're going to close out of that tab as well. We're going to take a look at some city flags over here. So 50 on this side of things, $720. These look a lot like the other ones condition-wise. Taking a look at these, probably about 4s. And we don't see all of them, what they look like. Oh, no, they're not. This has paper attachment and paper loss. But you're taking a look at $720. So you're into each of these cards. Under $15, I think realistically it's a pretty good buy. I think you could sell most of these and you're from $10 to $20 a piece. I say most of them. I mean, you have bigger cities. Like there's always gonna be people from St. Louis, New York, right? Boston, another bigger one. So I don't know exact comps, but I think whoever ended up purchasing this, even if there's a few that are gradable, you're going to end up doing well in these if you do split them up. Or again, someone might be wanting to have the full set. So there's always that possibility over here. Let's look at these T70s that sold. We have 660 bucks for 14 of those. Take a look at if there's any ones over here. So Perry, Statue of Liberty, 4s and 5s. So not bad over there. Declaration of Independence. Lincoln. So Lincoln on the T70 cards have been going for a bit more recently. So that's a decent one in a 3. I would assume it's probably about 150 to 250 ish. Just eyeballing that card alone. Let's see if there's any other Washingtons. General Lee. Well, it's a 1, but Lee stuff sells pretty well too. Washington, Delaware. That's a nice one. That's on a 4 too. Probably did all right. You have a Custer's Last Stand. And there's always set builders too, so you can split up some of these graded ones. But 660 bucks, you're looking at $66. I don't know what the 4s and 5s do, but just having a few Washingtons in there, I probably did pretty well. This was one of those that I wanted to bid on, and well, let me pull up both that I actually wanted to bid on. I'll load up a few more things too. I forgot they had the 32 caramel lot. It happens. Happens to the best of us. I remembered at like 8:55. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to bid, and I don't think they have extended bidding. You don't place your initial bid on something. So yeah, so let's take a look at this Franklin. This got a 5 MK, so a normal scale. You're taking a look at things. This is like a PSA 3. It actually has a lot of snow. Enough Said Cards told me about that. He's like, there's a lot of snow on these cards. And I don't know if this is as nice as my Franklin that I have already. My Franklin's a min size by SGC. So I am looking for a 3+. It's a very sharp looking card, but it is a little small. It's not trimmed by any means. Still think that's pretty good eye appeal, but I see where he said with that over here. But that's all for 630 bucks. Probably about right where it should be. This one I would have 100% bid on. US Grant. I paid, I want to say 350 for my, I have a 1.5 or a 2, but it was a little bit of paper loss here. Now this isn't really good centering. It has good colors. A little bit of whitening over there. It looks like a bad corner. Okay, let's take a look at this back. Pretty clean back overall. But yeah, I would have bid on this. I think this was very cheap for a 5, especially for the US Grant. Grant sells really well. The reason why Grant sells really well is it has a duality. You have people that just collect military leaders. You have people that collect presidential stuff. You have people that collect, just from those two sides of things. But also the N76 set's super, super popular. So you have a lot going for it. All right, T68. So who do we have over here? Alexander the Great Iron Maiden song. Andrew Jackson, Stonewall Jackson. What backs do these have? Natural Leaf. I'm not familiar with these backs. And 3 of these over here sold for $510. So someone's a little bit more familiar with the set, let me know how scarce these backs are. I have not done my research on the set. Like, I love the design on a lot of these, but I've kind of gravitated towards collecting the 1800 stuff rather than the early 1900 sets. All right, 32 caramels. So we have 11 over here, sold for $510. Let's take a look who's in the slot. So we have a Teddy over here, probably about a 3, 2.5, 3. Grant. So that Grant's all day a 152. Madison, but that has a crease going across. Then you have Andrew Jackson. Who's in that second picture? Garfield, Arthur, Harrison, Harding, Hayes, Taylor, John Tyler. So all Cummins there. I'm just saying real quick, like if you put the commons here at $20 to $30 a piece, and then Teddy probably about 40, 50. I don't know. It depends on the grade. Grant also around there. Probably about market value for this lot going across the board. The Reds They're the easiest to find of the three colors. Orange and blue are much tougher. So 510 there, but it's a classic set. Non-sports collection 41. So think about it like $11 a slab. That's a 9 there, 7. Let's see who's there. What else is here in this big lot? This is the type of stuff that'd probably be good for ComC. Not something that you move overnight, but there's some big names in here for sure. I don't think there's anything too rare set wise. I mean, a lot of these are pretty common. So, but still, I mean, you're paying it cheaper than the price of slabbing. They all eventually move. I mean, if you price them at 20 each, like you will make some money off of it. Garbage pills, wax packs over here, 9. First year, I want to say, and $450. 14 N25s. I haven't bought too many of these. I sold one, I believe, on ComC before, and it was pretty bad shape for $20. Elephant, black bear, tiger. So you're looking at $30 a slab. Not bad. There. Again, pretty cool art. You didn't know Ginter made so much more than just the sports set, or 2 sports sets, I should say. 1939 R173. Full set here, $420. Still a pet peeve of mine, not showing all the cards. 1962 Civil War News. That is John Brown right there. Oh, I guess see John Brown's raid. $420. I don't really collect a lot of the Topps non-sports releases in the 50s or 60s. Mars Attacks. The Invasion Begins. Very popular card. $420. Couldn't tell you what this goes for, but I see this sold all the time. Just one of your classic non-sports examples. All right, we have a Grover Cleveland here too. I've never seen this set before. Gale and Axe. I wonder if it was other presidents in that set or not. I'm not too sure. $390. So obviously the market showed that this one was pretty scarce. N146 Cleveland. Looks like a smaller Duke right there. Duke's Mixture, Smoking Tobacco, Duke and Sons. 2 sold for $360. There's a lot of Grover cards in this auction. Army of Insects, $360 for 7. Star Wars lot 7s, $360. Not really too interested in Star Wars, so not familiar with those. More Star Wars stickers. 33 Chickles. So you have the Lindbergh here, which is probably the second biggest name in that set. Rick talking Red Baron Pizza, named after this guy right here. Doesn't sell as well as Lindbergh. Doolittle does okay. Orville Wright, that's horrible shape. It's not too expensive of a card. He's a lot of earlier stuff, or the Wright brothers in general do. And $360, but if you have 44 cards, I've sold a lot of these commons. I wouldn't say a lot, but I've sold a few of these commons before between like $4 and $6. Lindbergh alone, it has a crease there, so it's probably about a $50 or $60 card. Don't know what he's running for right now. This you could probably sell it for about $10 to $15, maybe $20 because it is a bigger name. And Doolittle, probably $15, $20 range if I remember correctly. Yeah, lot that one out, but I have no idea who else is in there. Freedom's War. Here, 330. I want to say that there are some individuals in this set beyond just military equipment. I think I own one like that, but not 100% sure. 77 Star Wars. Again, another lot over here. 5, 6. Duke of Durham, James Garfield. I think we saw the N146 of Grover Cleveland that sold for also around 300 to 400 range. Beatles pack. The 64 top Beatles are pretty common, but I don't see too many cello packs all the time. $300 on that. Davy Crockett, 2 sets, 300. I believe this is card number 1 right over here. I've owned one of these before. I think it was like a 5 or a 6. I do okay. But at that price point, at what, 2 sets, 160 cards, you're probably doing pretty well with 300. I want to say it's like a $50 to $100 card alone. But like if I was gonna bid on this auction, I would have spreadsheets out, notes, and kind of having an idea where I'd be at. But skip this one, sadly. I just want to go for a few singles and I forgot. Our 157 Uncle Sam collection. This has to be a Gumink card, right? It has the same imagery. Gumink, what do you know? Yeah, a lot of pretty cool sets. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. $300 for 6 of those. Marilyn Monroe, 270 for 7. I don't even think this set's really that scarce, to be honest with you. I've seen this card a lot. But big name that sells. Kind of like a, I should say Joe DiMaggio, because any Joe DiMaggio card sells from playing day. We're going to stay with that. We have some oranges over here. Garfield, Grant. All your money's in that Grant right there, 270. Let's see how this Grant looks. Pretty clean overall. 2.5. Still, the other ones add up to. I mean, there's set collectors that want to go after a certain color, or just build the set in general. Orange is the second hardest. Blue's the hardest. It's about probably where it should be. World Smokers, American Indian. That's a pretty high price there. I don't know if the American Indian also those others. I think Gypsy, if I remember correctly, does, but 270. I've bought a few of these before when I went overseas, and I've also had a few that I purchased here in the US. Bargain bins, funny enough, but none were in like this type of shape. Most of them were like iffy, but I haven't seen these before. Crazy cards, not my style of non-sports, but a 10 for the pack, $228. I've seen these quite a bit. The presidential possibilities. So this is all 4, which is pretty high grade. I don't know. I think it's kind of cheap. There's a lot of no names in the set. I say no names. Like, they're probably pretty big historical figures in the 1800s. But as of today, I mean, I would say most people don't even know who Grover Cleveland is, which is kind of sad. But still, these aren't easy to come across. Stanley, I believe he, what was it? Explored Africa? Oh, yeah. It's on the card. 4.5, 192. Oscar Wilde. I think there was one of these that sold on eBay last year. It sold for a pretty good premium. But the thing with the set, too, between the Axe and Bravos, there are some bigger figures. In fact, with this, between the Axe and Bravo set, it's super niche. But if you do have the right person in there, people will pay up. I can't tell if this was a good price or not. He's definitely one of the bigger names in there. It does have a stamp on the back, which personally I don't mind. Dealer stamps. Controversial. I don't care. It's a good looking 1.5. I'm wondering if this is one of the short prints in the set. I'm not too familiar. I know there's a lot of short prints in here. I haven't fully studied it yet. But the profit, $180 for that in A6. Could be also just what 6s go for now. But there are some of these cards in the set that are very tough to find for set builders. Non-sports lot, $168, so about $10 a card. Those in here. Don't know who that is. Know who that is. Know who that is? Same person right there. Gary Cooper, big name too. Yeah, I mean, Buster Keaton, big name, but these are common cards. Lambert and Butler, a lot of these were printed a ton. Boys Cinnamon 1922. That's a better set. That has a Houdini card. The Houdini is like about $100 in horrible shape, but can go to 400 or 500 mid grade. 168 bucks. Be curious what that Lloyd does over here. It's also a really card of his. Paul Jones in a 4, 168 bucks. Another one over here, Tibet, 168 bucks. That's a lot, man. I did not know these fives were going for that much. These have, I do know 3 people building the set, by the way. These have gone up a lot recently. Well, I guess it's what happens in 3 people that I know personally that are building it out. I mean, there's others that are too, and they aren't the easiest stuff to find in nicer shape. But that's pretty good there. More Ginter animals. What do we have here? 8 sold for 168 bucks, so about $20. Buffalo over here for otter. And I like it's sad, but you gotta think about the popularity of animals, man. There's a collector out there for everything, and there's definitely someone that bought some of these for that side. Edwin Booth, actor, 5 sold for 156. Kenny Bros advertisement. I've seen this somewhere before. Maybe it was a vintage non-sports auction. 156 bucks. This is a very tough issue right here. I know someone who has something from this set on one of those vintage Facebook groups. 156 bucks. It feels cheap compared to the other ones that sold for about $300, but correct me if I'm wrong. U.S. president sets, 50s tops and 72 tops. Meh. Super common, but the thing is, like, you can sell that Lincoln in Washington over here between like $40 and $50 a piece. So you're already at $100 there. Darwin's about $10. Shakespeare's $4 or $5. Like, this is an easy set. The piece, each card one by one. Edison sold some of those for $10. So I usually these sets go for about $100 to $200, just depending on the condition. So it's about right. Lincoln looks pretty nice. Maybe a 4-ish. Might do well. John Logan. Right here, 5. I want to say he was a general. That's not a bad buy there for 120 bucks. We're just gonna scroll through some of the stuff in the next page. Pirates over here, 5 for 120. Probably not a bad buy there. Some of the pirate stuff has been going up quite a bit. White House. I've seen this card before. At one point I was trying to find like the first card that had a White House picture in it. This was very early. Don't know if it was the first or not. This seems cheap for General Sheridan. Ending of the Civil War. Samuel Morse for. So this sold us a few times for about $100. I still think Morse is kind of undervalued for like historical figure purposes. But I get it. There's a lot of great inventors, but I think of Morse code. Another over here, Captain Lewis, 5. Oh, we have some blues over here. So let's take a look at these blues. We'll slowly go through this page, see if anything else. Another Rover Cleveland. Mrs. Cleveland, another 5 over here for 96 bucks. I guess there's a lot of the Spanish characters over here, the pirates. Just keep going through. Chaplin, 1920s. That seems pretty high. 90 bucks. My other Chaplin, 6 for 84. Chaplin did well. A postcard of Mark Twain. I've learned a little bit about postcards. I don't know how rare that imagery is, but it's something I'd have to research before I bid on it. Quincy Adams for 4. That probably is cheap for an orange. I know a lot of 4s now, about $100. Gypsy Girl right here, 5.5, $72. Interesting, she went so low, and then you have another one over here, World Smoker's Pole for $66. This one actually kind of sold cheap right here, the 47 Sinatra. I don't. What is this grade though? Low key. Like that does not look like a 3 based off that center, and can't tell if that's trimmed off there or just rounded. But this card raw on eBay is sold for decent amount. This is a pretty good buy, whoever got that one. But the Blues, you have Andrew Jackson, biggest name there. What did the Blues sell for? Or two. Yeah, I probably would have bought that at that price. Just keep going through. Anteater. Someone posted this on social that they wanted to buy that card. Japanese smoker. There's a lot of smokers in this one. Wisconsin. You can see a 5-5. We were talking about this earlier. The flags of states and territories. 5-5 sold for $50 on that one. But again, these are the type of cards, and I know watches this video, but Jada's. Like, these are the type of cards you just throw out on your table and someone will eventually buy them. And they bring people to your table too. Just because you don't see these at card shows and people want to get into the pre-war side of things. They don't know how to. These are perfect. Kimball's. We're going through. Hyena. So some of the animals in 5s are going for about $40. And I think we have one more page left. Ohio, $40 there in a 5. Mrs. Cleveland there. Presidential wives aren't as popular for obvious reasons. Leopard. Lion in a 5. That actually probably was a pretty good buy. I feel like it's a more popular animal. That was a good buy for $36 to get this World Smoker. I mean, commons in the set are about 20 USD. So even like, that's just raw. And I feel like that's cheap. So someone got a nice one there. I don't think that's a non-sports card. The other smokers over here. But yeah, that's the REA auction this time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want stuff, I'll post it down below in the comment section. I'm curious what you guys ended up winning. And if you do enjoy these kind of walkthroughs of the results for auctions, I'm personally excited for the vintage non-sports auctions that come out